Hello and welcome to another episode of Podshots. My name is Clement Young. I'm one of your co-hosts along with Brandon Zem. And today we interviewed an amazing guy by the name of Yousaf Mahmud. Now Yousaf is originally from Lebanon. He emigrated to the UK with his mother at a young age and has been through some pretty impressive life lessons, which actually culminated in him becoming passionate about health, wellness, and fitness. Now, we're going to talk about a wide gamut of topics, but we're going to focus on that health, wellness, and fitness. And pay close attention to what Yousaf says. He's a very introspective, intelligent, and I'm sure you'll find a kind man. And we were just so grateful to have him on the show. So without further ado, let's dive right into it.
You know, facial surgeries, everyone's trying to make their lips look bigger, doing things with the eyebrows, implants. It's actually quite worrying for me at the minute, because I'm seeing people that are close to me doing these things, and I don't think it's healthy.
Yeah, no.
Yeah.
It's like a reflection. Oh, by the way, I just want to mention, we can't see your video. If that's on purpose, that's fine. But like, it's just showing a black screen for us.
All right. I don't know how to start video. Yeah. Okay.
There's yeah, there you go.
Right, there we go.
Awesome. So much better. It's good to see you, man.
Cool.
Good to see you. Yeah, there is this weird, it's like a reflection of the mentality that we have right now. I think, mm-hmm. I mean, I'm no psychologist, but, you know, and this is another big topic right now, is what the impact of social media is having on specifically young people. Have you seen The Social Dilemma on Netflix?
Yeah, I've started watching it. I'm halfway through that, and that was an eye-opener. Very scary. It's great that these guys have actually come together and been honest and come out with this sort of stuff, because it's really important. It's super important that this sort of things are exposed and people understand what's happening. And at least if you understand what's happening with social media and what they do to kind of get you to view and stay on your phone, at least if you understand it, you can control it. But a lot of people don't understand it and
start with awareness, right? Yeah, exactly.
Also scary too. It's scary what they do behind the scenes with all your data and how they profile you. I was watching it like a week ago.
Yeah, that is crazy. Like, you can't even click on a web page now without agreeing to your data and stuff like that. So it's weird. It's definitely a weird time we're living in now with this sort of thing.
It's funny because I remember because I'm in marketing, so I'm in online advertising and marketing, right? And that's my kind of like industry. And I remember when the European Union, they made this law called GDPR, which is basically General Data Protection Rights or something like that. Right? So every website that has hosting in the EU had to have that notice pop up that says, do you consent to your cookies being used for this, that, and the other?
Yeah.
And everyone was like, oh my God, do we have to do this? Like, because no one had to do it in the past. And it was quite complicated to actually get it working properly. And nowadays you look at what happened, and it's almost impossible to enforce that kind of law. Like, there's probably almost no cases where that's actually being brought into court and used as kind of a reference to say, oh, you fucked up. It's just crazy. Like, we give away so much information, but I don't actually feel there's a way we can get away from that now, because we're so tied into everything and it's going so fast that there's really no way to put the brakes on. So I just feel like privacy's kind of disappeared forever almost, you know. I don't think we're ever going to really get that back. And maybe we're not supposed to. Maybe that's the evolution of like where we're heading.
Yeah, I do think, like, as a world, we're living far from how we should have been originally, you know, in a tight community of people, walking to the shops, buying groceries, walking back, staying very active, you know, that sort of thing. We're living so far, we're dependent so much on tech that there's going to be some depression, anxiety and stuff like that, because I always question, are we supposed to be living like this as humans? Like, we're supposed to be so stimulated in our minds that, you know, I just don't. I don't think we are, and that's where it's causing a lot of problems for people. Materialism. Sorry, what's that?
I was just saying, how should we be living though? Assuming like this is like the wrong way of going about it.
I don't think it's going to change, because there's a lot of money involved in social media, technology, and that's definitely where we're heading. So it's kind of either what's the word? If you can't join them, if you can't beat them, join them. And I think as people, we need to just play the game. Otherwise, we'll get left behind. Like the money is going to be only made online soon, you know. If we don't keep up with the Joneses, we'll be left behind. So we've got to keep up with the trend, as much as a lot of people don't want to. But yeah.
Have you ever seen or read anything written by the author Yuval Noah Harari? He's this Israeli guy who writes about the history of humankind. He's a historian, and he wrote books like Sapiens and Homo Deus, and basically kind of like an anthropological deep dive into, you know, how we evolved as humans, and, you know,
I've heard of the book Sapiens.
Yeah, right. I mean, when you mentioned about like the fact that we used to be in these smaller communities where everything was a lot more manageable, you know, right? You know everybody, or at least you know most people, and you've got direct contact with maybe politicians or people who are running that group. And I was thinking about that the other day, and especially after watching A Social Dilemma, I was thinking, are we ever going to get to the point where we recognize the damage that this disconnection from our communities having on us as individuals and as a whole, and come back somehow to having smaller circles within this large scale globalist kind of society that we live in, where, you know, I've got, like, for example, I'm friends with Brandon and I kind of actually made friends online through mutual contact. Sure? I'd never met Brandon until you know, like I guess we had a mutual contact online. So and I have had you know, situations where I've literally exclusively been talking and working with people across the other side of the planet. So it's really, it's pretty fascinating when you think about, you know, all of this technology and having an impact on our lives and where we're headed. I know this isn't really the focus of the conversation. I don't know how we kind of came off on this tangent, but it's funny though. It's funny though, because the first point that I wrote down was like that we indirectly met through Tinder. Which let me explain.
Please explain that one, Clement. I want to know how you met him on Tinder. So were you?
No. It wasn't on Tinder.
Actually, one night,
kind of indirectly through Tinder. I matched with someone who works for Yousaf. And I was looking through her Instagram, and I kept seeing her at the gym, and I was like, this gym looks really interesting. And then that's when I figured out, okay, Yousaf's the guy running this thing. And then I started following Yousaf because you have some good content. And then over time, I started realizing that, this gym's different. It's a very, not to be too cliche, it's unique. That's the name of your gym, right?
Yeah, so that's the name of my gym. I think you're referring to, is it Carla?
Yeah, Carla.
Yeah. She no longer works with us. She left in January. Because we weren't seeing eye to eye. And I was focusing on Youniq as a brand, and she wanted to do her own thing.
Gotcha. Yeah.
So it just kind of wasn't in line with my vision as a brand. And so like Carla left in January, and then I just started really focusing on branding and getting me marketing across a lot better. So if compared to last year, I definitely have leveled up my content and leveled up the gym as Youniq. Just things like made it all color coordinated, made it all branded, the colors. Things are going good now. Apart from obviously in March, we had to shut the gym because of COVID, which was a pain. But it's funny how you actually got to know me through that. And if we go back on what we're just talking about, social media does have its perks because we get to connect with people who are in different countries, but also it has got the downside is if you abuse it and don't pay attention to your loved ones or your people who you're in a relationship with, sitting on your phone at dinner and not paying attention to them, because that's when it becomes a problem. But yeah, it's great, like how you've started a podcast with Brandon and you get to have these amazing conversations and stuff like that. It's amazing, isn't it?
Double-edged sword, yeah. Brings you together, but it tears you apart too. Such a strange
Have you been able to do anything to get around the fact that we're dealing with COVID as a gym? Like, have you guys just stayed shut down for now, or have you been able to do anything online or utilize that medium?
Okay, so I've always wanted to move my business online. So I've always had a goal to be an online coach. And I kept putting it off and procrastinating about it. But coronavirus hit March, and it literally forced me to create that online business. So it was a blessing in disguise. I did have to shut down the gym. The gym was shut for a good couple of months, but I was training people online. So it literally gave us the kick up the ass that I needed to start that online business. So I am grateful for that. But yeah, a blessing in disguise, because it was a business that I always wanted to start. And now I've got two businesses, online and in person. Now the gym is back open. We don't have to shut as of yet. So that's great. Yeah. So things are going excellent with that.
Yeah, that's awesome to know. I mean, if you're in any kind of position where you take your profession seriously, you're going to have to do something once this hits, right? You're going to have to start thinking out of the box and being creative and things, which I think you're good at because of your brand. I mean, it's interesting. So I'm glad that you were able to do that. It happened to all of us. It happened to me. I'm not sure if it touched Brandon, but it's one of those things that, what is it like now? I mean, now that you're open again, are you seeing the numbers kind of get back to normal, or is it going to be a long way off, do you think?
No, it was actually the most busiest we've ever been. So business is the best it's ever been right now. So like I say, I think at the end of lockdown, when people could actually start going to gyms again, people are really itching to go to the gym and start looking after their health again. Also, you can imagine a lot of people gained a lot of weight during the lockdown.
It's really cool. It's like almost like fattening you up, like for the... I never thought about it that way, but that's actually... Well, it's funny you mention that, because I have a membership with Anytime Fitness, which, if anyone's listening doesn't know, it's one of the biggest, if not the biggest, gym franchise in the world, everywhere basically.
I got a membership. Love it. It's awesome because you can go into any location.
Yeah. You can go to any location, but it's really just a gym. Like, there's nothing special about it apart from the fact that... Of
course there's something special about it. They give you that little key fob thing, and then when you get it, they're like, you can use this at any gym in the world that's in any
Yeah, that's really the unique part.
It feels so special. That's the most special part about it.
That's the special part about it. But it really, obviously, that's for people who travel all the time. and I generally do travel all the times until this year. So that's why I'm a member of Anytime. And it's empty. At least the one in Gateshead, which is where we are, I mean, in our area, is empty. It's just empty. And funnily enough, when the government here announced that they were going to impose another lockdown, but, you know, like the 10 p.m. curfew thing where you have to go home, you can't be out in the pubs and stuff, everything closes at 10. Now, after doing that, it's full again. It's very strange. We have a very strange way of thinking as a kind of like a species where, you know, like if we feel like we're having something taken away from us, we're there. Like we're going to jump right at it. But if we feel like it's fine, like we've got it, we don't have to worry about it. We don't give a fuck anymore about it. You know, we're just going to like.
Yeah, totally. Yeah, I totally get that. I think it's like that with everything, isn't it? When you can't have something, you want it more. That proved right when all the gyms shut and everyone started suddenly going for long walks down the beach and getting bicycles and going for bike rides and really start like getting out more and stuff like that. But like a lot of these people weren't doing that previous.
Before that they didn't even care.
It's amazing how trendy things become in times.
Yeah, I agree with you, man. That's marketing for you, man. That's half of marketing, is just like getting into the mind of someone and making them feel. It's very manipulative. It can be really manipulative marketing, especially the best marketing is questionably unethical. Like you're really playing with the psychology of someone when you're writing everything and you're presenting things and but yeah, where are you? What's your ethnicity?
So I was born in Libya. Right. So that's in between Egypt and Tunisia. But my mum is English, so she was from South Shields, where I live right now, in the northeast. And me dad came from Libya to study at the Marine School and met me mum. They went to Libya. She had me, and I came back at 4 years old without me dad because he was there, and it just wasn't a good life for me two siblings, my brother and sister. So my mum thought, I'm not having me go to school there and stuff like that. And I thank God. I just thank God. That was the case.
So did your siblings get left? Your siblings were there?
No, they came back as well. To be honest, I think my sister had more of a hard time there. So my mother did not like that. So that's why we moved back. We've got family here. All my family here. We've got another brother here as well. We've got two brothers, one sister. And yeah, that was basically the story of how I was born in Libya and came back here.
Wow, interesting.
That's cool. Do you have a second language? Like, do you know Arabic, or did you not grow up that way?
No, I didn't know Arabic. I did actually speak it. That was my first language when I was a child. But at 4 years old, coming back to England, and I was straight back into an English community. The neighbourhood that I lived in, English. So that's when I just went with the flow of my community, you know.
Okay, cool. How was it like growing up in South Shields? Because I grew up, and I'm half Chinese here, and it's you know, I mean, it's like a shipbuilding town, right? I mean, this whole place in the northeast is really well known for its previous shipbuilding experience. So it's very kind of like laborious, hardworking, manual labor folk who aren't necessarily traveling around the world. And I just wanted to know, like, what was it like for you?
Okay, so growing up, it was hard. It was quite hard. I always used to try and fit in. I used to try and fit in with folks who weren't really the best to be hanging around with, really. Toe rags, rogues. And that was just because of the area that I lived in. It wasn't a suburb. It was quite poor. It was a council estate. And it was hard. And obviously I went to school, and it wasn't like an ethnic school. So I didn't really see myself as like coloured or mixed race. I just thought of myself as one of everyone else. Yeah. So I never really had that mentality of being different to anyone else. But yeah, there was like episodes where like people would like slur racist comments and stuff like that, because it's just ignorance. It's not, I don't really take it personal. I just take it as ignorance. And so it was tough, but I think it's tough for everyone. Yeah.
I also had similar experience. Just like you said, you kind of end up with the harder kids, the ones that are doing, the rebellious ones. And I think one of the reasons why that is you're trying to be accepted. Like, and those are usually the ones that accept you first for some reason. I don't know. It's like, I don't know if that's entirely true, but you kind of I feel like a lot of ethnic minority kids who are trying to be seen and loved end up in these groups of kind of rebellious teens, just because it's kind of like, it's a lot more of a kind of a family kind of environment. I don't know. It's not easy for a lot of us, and it kind of has an impact on you later on in life. But what changed for you? How come you ended up starting this whole journey on fitness? Because you're really into it. Like, I can tell that it's your passion is health and wellness. Yeah.
And what the key word I took from that there was acceptance, and that's 100% right. Yeah. We just want to be accepted. We want to be loved. We want to fit in and feel good, and like be part of a community. But oftentimes, I don't know what it is, but when you're younger, in my area, in my culture, the mischievous ones were the cool ones. But it's funny how the roles change later on in life. Yeah. The nerds then become the cool ones, and the ones that are going places. So now I'm a nerd in my space, you know what I mean, which I love. And it's funny because those who were like mean, nasty people, they didn't end up anywhere. But yeah, I went to school. That was like a naughty school as well. It wasn't the best school. Also, then just got into just terrible jobs, like really like soul destroying jobs, factory work. And I just started picking up books for some reason. I think it was YouTube at first. I was into, I stumbled across Tony Robbins. And
no way. Me too.
Yeah, I stumbled.
Exactly what happened to me.
I stumbled. Yeah, because he's like the OG, isn't he, of personal development? Yeah. Stumbled across them, and then started like looking into it. It was just making sense to us, like, do what you love. And I was doing jobs that I absolutely hated. And it's just like, seems like it's the hardest question to ask yourself in the world. What do I love to do? At that time, I was actually like just going to the gym and training, and I actually fell in love with exercise and working out and building my body, and then it just clicked. Personal trainer, this is the only thing I know that I actually like to do. And if I can at least be in an environment that I like to be in, which is a gym, because I work out, that's better than working in this shit warehouse job. So that's where it started, into the health and like wellness journey, and that's how I became.
So you've been working out yourself for some time at that point?
It was around it was from 2012 to like 2014. That's when I just it was like a couple of years. I had built my body. That helped me with my own personal confidence. I did start actually training because of a breakup. I felt like low in self-esteem. I split up with an ex-girlfriend, and that was like, I was feeling shitty, as you do. And then I thought, right, I need to go and work on myself, make myself feel good, and improve my self-esteem. So after that, just hitting the gym, started building muscle, started learning about it, actually researching about it. Then I noticed people and friends wanted to train with us and ask us for tips and stuff like that. And that's when I caught on to actually making it a career.
Yeah, it's really interesting about the confidence aspect of it. I mean, it really does help, doesn't it? I mean, it helps to have that, because you are, a lot of people don't like talking about it directly like this, because some people aren't, taking care of their body, and they don't like to know that they're not taking care of their body. But it really does make a significant impact when you take care of yourself in terms of attracting attention, maybe not good attention all the time, but it definitely helps with, dating. It definitely helps with having some kind of, I guess, respect in a professional environment too. I mean, it says a lot about your character if you are putting the effort in. So, I just wanted to address that, because anyone who's listening to this, who's been on the fence about whether or not they should actually, do more of, fitness and working out, what would you say to them? Like, how is it? It's affected you personally. So what would you say to someone who's like, I don't know?
Well, you've got to know why you're doing things. I always say you've got to know your why. Yeah. We hear this all the time in personal development, and it's just totally true. If we know why we want to do things, and that's going to be a bigger motivational driver to steer towards our goals and essentially our happiness. Yeah. So when I first started working out, I must admit, when I was starting to get in shape, I was thinking about girls and stuff like that. Yeah. And you need to realize that, that's helping your confidence greatly. But a lot of times women are more attracted to a confident man than just abs and, the way we look. Because a lot of it comes from insecurities. So we want to work out, we want to look good because we're insecure about the way we look or feel or something like that, no matter what anyone says. So I'd like to say, just focus on getting stronger, focus on getting fitter, and all that will come. The body will come. But really think about why you actually want to achieve them goals in the first place. And it might be, there might be ill health that's common in the family, or there might be, you want to be fit for your kids and be able to run around and play with them until late years of your life. Things that are just more meaningful than looking good, because 9 times out of 10, it's not a big enough driving factor for you to see it through. So you want it to be a part of a lifestyle and not just a quick fix. That's what I would say.
Right. What kind of personal trainer do you want to be though? Like, do you want to help like Joe Sixpack drop 10 pounds, or do you want to do something more specialized, or do you do something more specialized?
Yeah. So, I don't really want to train athletes. I want to train general population who actually just want to lose around about 10 to 20 pounds, men and women, in the first 8 to 12 weeks. That's what I want to do. And that's what we've been successful with doing. And I've seen the outcome of that, and that's just complete happiness. People don't want to have 6 packs who I work with. They just want to look good, feel better, fit into a dress that they've always wanted to fit in, and just be content with the way they look and the feel. Now, I don't want to work with bodybuilders. I'm not a bodybuilder. I never have been a bodybuilder. or class myself as a bodybuilder. I just want to work with people who are just regular folk who just want to improve their health and their body. Yeah.
Yeah, you posted a picture recently of, like, you said it was a hard thing for you to do because you're used to obviously like playing the game of social media, keeping up appearances, and you didn't look bad. It wasn't like that. It was more like you were kind of saying, it's fine to be not in 100% like ripped, shredded state and still show yourself, because that's what people are actually like in real life. I mean, what's happened? What was that? Like, that was like an inspiration that you were like, oh, okay, look, I'm just going to do this because people need to know, the truth, or people need to be reminded of the truth.
Yeah. So what I want my social media to be about is just honesty. Yeah. Like, I do get that it is a platform for posting pictures, and we're not always going to just post the worst day of our lives on social media. I do get
that would be a pretty terrible social media account.
just taking pictures of the most shit things ever. Like, we're not
good.
I don't want to do. I know we can't do that. It's supposed to be like decent, but I do think there's a lot of images on social media that people look at of people just showing their best bits, their ripped bodies, and that's just not reality. No one walks around shredded all year round, and if they did, I'm pretty sure their social life and their lifestyle would be pretty boring. Because of the sacrifices that you would have to make to maintain that. But yeah, like, I just want to kind of, everyone's denormalizing what is normal. That's what I feel. The as far as the lip fillers, the plastic surgery to the body, and posting photoshopped images and stuff like that. There's just no need for it, because there's impressionable people looking at that, and it's actually affecting people, because people are looking at pictures of people who are in amazing shape, only posting the best pictures, only posting the best of their life, and then they're looking at these images and thinking, why isn't my life like that?
Yeah.
And that's damaging, because I've felt that myself off consuming content, and I know when you get caught up in that, it can be really hurtful, and it can affect your self-esteem.
Yes,
which is not good for your mental health.
Yeah. Younger people, and this goes back to the Social Dilemma, Netflix, which anyone can watch, is really kind of like bringing to light that younger people, especially women, are really predisposed to being negatively affected psychologically by all of this barrage of just perfect looking. I don't even personally feel like they look great. I think now I'm starting to realize that they're actually a little bit, it's a bit crazy, the standards to which we're holding ourselves to. But for a lot of these, teens, they're like you said, they're just kind of starting to think that it's normal to look like that, or they should be looking like that. And so we're seeing record rates of cosmetic surgery to look like the Instagram filters that are out that make your lips bigger and your face thinner.
It's plastic surgery of the internet, essentially.
Yeah, it's plastic surgery of the internet, which is affecting people's real life plastic surgery choices. If you have any plastic surgery choices,
or your aesthetic choices, because I mean, Instagram, for example, is all about being aesthetically pleasing in so many ways. Whether it's your food or yourself or your dog or whatever you're posting, it's all about that aesthetic appeal, and especially for women, because women are always on Instagram. Women usually have the largest followings. Yeah. On average, they do the best. They're always comparing themselves to other women who are, using filters and using these tools to make themselves look beautiful but fake at the same time. And then some girl out there, many girls out there wake up every morning and they go, fuck, why can't I look like that? And they compare themselves. So it just makes sense when you put it all together. I mean, when I get up, I don't idolize any men on Instagram. So it doesn't bother me, but I know a lot of women definitely.
You know, it's funny you mentioned it though, because like, I remember when I was in like, they call it middle school here. I'm not sure what it's maybe 10th grade, 12th grade. Anyway, at that point, like I had no idea about what it takes to look great. I had no idea about fashion style. And I remember I used to use like half a tub of this gooey gel for my hair. And I would basically slather it on and it would make my hair kind of crisp and almost brittle to the point where, you know, if you snapped it, it would just break. And I walked around with this center parting, brittle back on those pictures. I was like, what the fuck was going through my mind? Why didn't I realize that was bad? So, you know, it's really about your own perspective and what you think has influenced you to think is actually, you know, good for you. But in retrospect, you know, and we can never really see in retrospect until after the fact. But I think a lot of people are going to have a rude awakening when they realize, oh shit, that, you know, the lips that I had done or the nose job that I had done actually wasn't the best idea.
Yeah, totally. Yeah, 100%. I mean, that can't be good for you later on in your very elderly age, you know, like everything's sagging down and like you've still got this nose that's perfectly straight or these lips that are huge and it's just not matching up with your whole body. Like Kim Kardashian, have you seen her ass?
Yeah, I think everyone's seen her ass.
Yeah, so I seen a picture the other day actually, on Instagram, and it was like her ass is massive, round like that, and she's on the beach holding her child, but her leg is like a stick, okay, yeah. And then her ass is big, circular thing, and it just doesn't match proportionately to the legs. So imagine how that's going to look later on, because obviously she doesn't train with weights, so hamstrings and her quads haven't developed also. Yeah. So when she loses even more muscle mass in her 40s and 50s, it's going to look absolutely ridiculous. And these are the type of people that people are looking up to. And
that's a really good point.
Actually, copying or, you know, aspiring to look like. It's crazy. It's just, and it's hard to show people and persuade people otherwise, you know, because people will do what they want to do, and it's hard to kind of influence them to do it the right way. Because let's face it, the right way is natural in my eyes. To be natural, to be happy with what you've got, and work on your own self-worth and self-image. You know what I mean? Like if you want to grow a bigger ass, go to the gym and do some hip thrusts, do some deadlifts, do some squats, and do it naturally, which is the most healthiest way where you're going to benefit from, you know, the exercise in itself. You know, you're going to build up some strength. You're going to work on your metabolism. There's other benefits there, rather than looking for the quick fix, like we are doing as a society, as a nation. We're just always looking for the fastest route possible to get the reward without actually following the process. And this is another massive damaging thing that's happening right now, that's affecting many people's happiness. Yeah.
So what are you finding when you're putting out that kind of content? Because obviously, you know, you're living what you talk, right? So you're posting stuff that's more about holistic wellness, knowing yourself, you know, knowing your self-worth, being self-aware. Actually, that's what Gary Vaynerchuk talks a lot about, isn't it? Do you know who Gary V is? He talks a lot about being self-aware. He says that's the number one key to success, is to be self-aware, which basically means Well, I suppose it's a very broad way of kind of discussing your psychology and your mindset, but essentially it means being confident in your own skin and knowing your limits and knowing your strengths. And I think people don't spend enough time really assessing those things, because it's scary to sit down one day and think, what am I shit at? Like, what am I really shit at though? Like, if we're going to be honest with ourselves, the ego and the real you. And I mean, when you come out with the answers to those questions, your life just changes. You suddenly start to focus on things that are so much better for you. Have you had that kind of experience? You've had that experience before. I'm pretty honest, pretty sure you have.
Yeah. And also your own values. People are too busy, doing things what other people value and wondering why they aren't happy, because they're actually following other people and thinking that what works for them is going to work for them. What works for those are going to work for themselves. And that's just not the case. I mean, it's very hard to dig deep and really be self-aware and be in tune with, yourself. It's a lot easier for anyone who's into personal development, because they're actually reading and actually trying to figure out what they're going through. But yeah, a lot of people just need to kind of focus on what they value most.
Yeah. So what do you think is going to be next for you then, in terms of taking your gym and your personal training to the next level? Like, what's your goal for the next 12 months, 24 months? I know it's difficult right now.
Yeah, so it is difficult right now because we don't know what the government are going to say. We don't know what they're going to hit with next. So the best thing for me is just to kind of stay ready. And right now I'm just thinking, the gym, I did say that I wanted to be an online coach and build that business up. And that's what I want to do, because in my mind is that's what makes the most sense to me now, especially after this year, because if the government can come along and just say, right, your gym is shut and there's nothing I can do about it, then then I'm thinking it's not great having a premises or a property, because they can close it at a click of a finger.
What do you think about all of that? What do you feel about the way that the government has dealt with this, not just in the UK, but in general, all over the world?
To me, it just kind of, I don't know, because we haven't got all the answers, have we? We don't know the hidden agendas that might be happening. There's a lot of conspiracy theorists out there, and there's a lot of people that are but either way, we really need to respect the opinions of both people, because there's elderly who can be very affected by it. So we can't be fuck wearing masks and stuff like that, because we've got to respect other people. People are scared. So we've got to actually just go with the flow, even as much as we like to think, or as much as a lot of we do think it's all bullshit. Personally, I think I'm on the conspiracy theorist side. I'm government are dodgy and government haven't got the best intentions, and there's a bigger plan with all this, but I just don't know what. But that's just my opinion. I could be wrong. I just don't know. I honestly don't know where this is going. Hopefully it's over with as soon as possible, because there's a lot of people out there that just can't cope with this sort of thing anymore, and suicide rates are going up and stuff like that. I really don't know where this is going. So all I can do is prepare, and the only thing that makes sense to me is building an online business that I can do from my laptop. And if things like this do happen, COVID, I'm good, because I'm I'm online and I'm making money online and stuff like that, which is also to help other people. What do you think?
What do you think, Brandon? What's the Podshots opinion on COVID?
You're asking the guy that woke up at 5 a.m.
Yeah.
I would have to say that it's very, very difficult. I mean, it doesn't really matter what industry you're in. This year has been ridiculously difficult for every business and every profession. It throws everything off with all your goals. Well, Bezos, I mean, his schedule's probably been messed up a little bit. Has to fly to some different locations, maybe lost a little bit.
Oh, and now the president has COVID as well, and the first lady as well. Maybe that was his plan, so he could get to spend more time with Melania, because I'm pretty sure she's been avoiding him.
Maybe. Who knows? Well, what's holding you back from being an online coach right now, though? Like, is it just like time commitment, or is it just craziness with the world and COVID, or?
Yeah, so it's pretty much balance, because I've got this in-person gym business. I've got a brilliant employee called Michelle who runs the group training and stuff like that and coaches me clients and stuff. But yeah, I'm still having to deal with the gym and then trying to work on the online business too. I've actually got a business coach who's helping me with that.
Nice.
And it is growing, but very slowly. And I do feel like it's kind of one or the other at this point. If I really want to protect me energy, if I want to really excel at the online coaching, I feel like I've got to get another staff member and step away from the gym completely. Maybe it's obviously like check in, make sure everything's running smoothly. But my day-to-day schedule needs to revolve around the online coaching if I want it to grow. Just like I had to completely quit me last job and start becoming a PT, I'm going to have to like quit being around the gym so much and going into the online world more. Online.
Do you have any favorite role models online who are doing what you want to do or doing what you do, but just in a greater capacity right now where you want to be?
Yeah, so there is a couple of people, but you know, I try not to indulge in too much of the work or anything like that, because I feel like sometimes, like I said about being influenced, like the Kardashians and stuff like that, sometimes you can get carried away and it kind of takes you off from your values. So what I try and do is just learn from people who are going to help me with what I'm going through right now and not take in too much content. Like before I'd be watching Tony Robbins videos, Tom Bilyeu's videos, Gary Vee, and my head would just feel like it's going to explode with all the information and all the contradiction. So right now I'm just working with my business coach who's helping me, who is very inspiring. He's called Brian Mark. He's Canadian. He's only 28 and he's an absolute genius. So I'm taking in his content because it's actually helping me with like actionable steps that I can take right now and apply into my business. And I'm right now I'm just entertainment. So someone else I'm actually following right now is James English, and he's a podcast host who hosts criminals, and I'm really interested in that right at the minute. Nice. So it's just business and entertainment. So yeah, I'm not really
criminals, current criminals, or criminals that have been criminals and they're not criminals anymore.
Yeah, criminals that have been criminals and they're not anymore, and then now they're trying to do a good thing, and like promoting like anti-knife, anti-guns campaigns and stuff like that, and giving back to the community. So awesome. them are the sort of people that I'm taking inspiration from at the minute.
Yeah. Gotcha. Because it could have been very different. If it was current criminals, it would have been a different story. It would have been
there's a third category too. You're forgetting criminals at large too. So there's criminals at large, criminals in jail, and
criminals at large is what I mean. So it's like you welcome on your host. He's currently on his fourth victim.
He's currently on the run in 5 states. He hails
from Arizona. He's called the Knife King. I don't know. That would have been a really interesting podcast. Oh man, yeah. No, but that's cool because I also am really avid follower of people and I just posted something from his this morning. Jason Wilson is a guy from the US who trains young men, young boys, young men in martial arts.
Okay.
And he's religious, and he comes from a kind of a place where he's trying to he's black, and he works with predominantly, I think, exclusively black kids to clear their trauma, and he does it through martial arts, and it's freaking amazing. It's just amazing watching him at work because these kids break down while they're going through the motions of attacking him or doing whatever he wants them to do, and they start crying, and then he addresses it right there in front of everyone. He tells them to open up and express themselves, because I think this kind of mindset that we have where people might get into a criminal life, it's all coming from the same place, right? It's coming from this need or this belief that you're not enough, and you're not accepted. And I'm really I just want to say I'm really an avid fan of people like Jason Wilson.
Yeah, and it's absolutely bang on correct what you've just said there, because I'm very interested in like I say, ex-criminals and stuff, actually criminals, current criminals. I'm just interested because a lot of the times it's exactly what you've just said. A lot of it's coming from trauma and childhood trauma and parenting and stuff like that. That actually turns there's a pattern, and you'll see the pattern, and 9 times out of 10, there's been something wrong in the childhood or something that they've been exposed to. And when you do dive in a little bit deeper into these people's lives and see and listen to the story, there has been a trauma, child abuse, sexual abuse, things like that, and it has led them to feel unloved and want to take it out on the world. And this has been a current pattern on the podcasts I've been watching of these criminals and stuff like that. And yeah, it's completely right what you said there.
Yeah, I think Brandon has the most experience with this. That's why he's in Colombia right now. I mean, he's currently a criminal and he's trying to overcome it. But we're doing what we can. We're doing what we can.
You don't hear about me much, but trust me, I'm up there on the list.
So child trauma is off the scale. It's off the charts.
So how come you are in Colombia, Brandon?
Other than the reasons Clement mentioned, Clement.
Oh, thank you.
You got to be proper. So many reasons. Work. COVID kept me here. Actually, if you look at the reason I've been here for 8 months, 7 of the 8 months have been COVID related. Couldn't leave.
Really?
Yeah, but I mean, just being a bit of a digital nomad, I can kind of work wherever. So I was kind of lucky in that sense when I got stuck, because I was like, okay, well, at least I'm stuck in a beautiful country that has Wi-Fi and good food and beautiful women. So I can't really complain, and I can do my work remotely. And so I've been okay. So I've been lucky.
Antifa in Oregon.
Yes, it was like come home to a burning city with riots and plundering and social issues and an election coming up where everyone wants to kill each other, or stay in a beautiful, warm climate with amazing food, hot women, Wi-Fi. It's all. Yeah. I don't see why I would go home right away. So took my time.
Yeah, it's been hard for you, obviously. But traveling this year is crazy. I mean, My flights to Colombia have had 4 so far, which have all been cancelled, different airlines. I'm about to make my last attempt for 2020 today to try and find a custom route. And I didn't really think that no one saw this coming. I never thought it would be difficult in this day and age to actually, just get to somewhere like South America. But it is. And I genuinely feel worried for the world economy, because if it's difficult for me to get to Colombia when I just want to bloody well sit in a resort and work on my laptop, can you imagine how difficult it is for industries where they literally need to be there? They need to get back to work. They need to do business. They need to see, even families as well are torn apart. It's a really difficult time right now. So again, going back to my question to you, like how you felt like the world dealt with this, it's just mind-boggling, in my opinion, what's happening. I also think that there could be some agendas behind it. We don't know for sure, but it just seems like it's very disproportionate, in the response to something that, when you look at the actual data, is kind of like, it does resemble, even though it's novel, like a flu, a seasonal flu. It resembles that kind of, infection and case fatality. So it's, we're in a tricky time right now, man. But then we wouldn't be talking right now if it wasn't for COVID, because Brandon and I probably wouldn't have bothered with this podcast if it wasn't for the COVID.
This podcast really probably wouldn't exist if it wasn't for COVID. So there's some good.
Some good that came out of coronavirus. It's Podshots.
Okay, excellent. So have you been enjoying the podcast?
Yeah, I mean, it's been really amazing meeting people like you, meeting people from different backgrounds, learning things about everything under the sun. I mean, we've had someone on the last episode was talking about a new nation they're trying to create on the border of Serbia. Called Liberland, which is insane. I mean, who starts a new nation? Who even goes through the process of starting a new nation, which I've never considered, but it's happening. We've had, who else have we had on, Brandon, that's been kind of...
we had Tiger and Corazon, musical artist. She was a singer, right? One's a singer, one's a DJ. Had some interesting industry guys on, had Tom on, I remember all the guests. Help me out, Clement.
Yeah, no, I mean, we're just really trying to go broad and capture what it means to be, someone alive today who's just trying to, do their thing and make the world a better place. And I like the humanity of it. I like to know what drives someone, whether it's good or bad. I like to know what their experiences are, because anyone listening to that is going to get something from it, some value and some lesson, or they can relate and they feel like they're more understood somehow. So I like podcasts. I think they're a perfect medium for bringing people together in some kind of cause. And in terms of your industry, I can't think of anyone better, actually, come to think of it, to talk about health and what it means to be taking care of yourself today, especially with all the bullshit that's going on. So I really have thoroughly enjoyed it. And I'm definitely going to come and visit your place.
No problem.
Soon. I should do that before I leave, actually, if I leave.
Yeah. Okay, just give us a message anytime. Yeah, I do think podcasts are just like a great platform to give your audience a deeper connection with you. I'd like to make one myself, actually. I think when I move into my own house, try and use me social media to drive people to me podcast and create one myself, because I think they're amazing. Like, a lot of my audience on social media don't know many of the things I've just spoke to you about today.
No,
because we go deep in a podcast, and I love that. I love that you can literally just absolutely chop it up and dive into weight, and it helps your audience get a deeper connection to you. Like I haven't actually spoke about where I was born on social media
right
at all.
I think it works very well. I think it makes people realize you're a real person, and they can have more respect for you. So I think it's a good idea, man. I think you should do it. Definitely.
Especially being like a fitness coach who's like posting personal development content, fitness content. It's not what the general population do. So it helps people understand that I'm just human too, you know, and because a lot of people think that like fitness coaches who are just posting positivity stuff, health stuff, have just got it all figured out, the perfect, the live life.
Well, you know, that's a good point. I don't really like it when I only see positive stuff from people who are trying to inspire others. Because look, it's necessary, but I think people and me in the past, I've kind of felt somehow turned off by someone who only is positive. Because I'm like, in my mind, I'm like, you're not real. You're not a real person. How can you be real if all you talk about is positive? So as soon as someone who's, you know, like a self-development or an inspiring person talks about the challenges they have and maybe some of the, you know, not so great aspects of them publicly, I really appreciate it because I start to see them as a real person and take them more seriously. And, you know, like Gary Vaynerchuk's a great example of someone who's just fucking honest all the time. Like he's just honest and he doesn't artificially try to amp someone up. He just does it from his heart. So he'll swear all the time. He'll call someone out. Like I really like him. Some people hate him or some people just don't have much of an opinion on him, but I love that kind of thing. Tony Robbins, I actually quit my job because of Tony Robbins. Yeah. When I was working in the family business, which hopefully my dad doesn't listen to this, but when I was working in a family business, it was awful. Like it was soul crushing, like you said. And that wasn't because my dad runs a soul crushing business. It's just because it wasn't what I wanted to do with my life. And then I listened to, someone introduced me to him. And at the time, like we were listening to CDs in cars. So I would put his CDs on in the car and drive around and fucking felt great when I was driving because he was so inspiring and I felt like I could do anything. So that's why I quit my job. And we need more messages like that in the general population. You know, so many people who are just, you know, feeling like this is all there is. When in actual fact,
there just needs to be more blunt honesty and straightforwardness with things. That's why Gary Vee is so popular. You know, regardless of whether people hate him or like him, he comes out very, very honest about everything. It doesn't matter who you are, what age you are. He'll just say it straight up what you need to do. The thing I hate most about personal development or coaching and things like that is when they come out and just say that you have all this untapped potential and you will achieve everything you want to do. And I'm like, that's not really helpful. I mean, I appreciate it, but like, could you like fire me up by like telling me what's wrong with me and what I need to fix? Like you need to improve as a person. I mean, you don't want to just get hyped up all the time. You know, you need something to work on, something to build off of, a foundation.
That's completely true. I totally agree with that. Like, you can only, if you work on your weaknesses, that's what's going to really help you. Getting out of your comfort zone, working on your weaknesses, not just some fickle motivation that lasts for 10 minutes, you know, because like that's not addressing anything. That's just giving you a little bit of a buzz. Eventually, it's probably going to make you feel worse when you keep fucking not doing anything. After 10 minutes of motivation, you're probably going to feel bad about yourself. The fact that you're not getting off your ass and doing the things that you were inspired to do, you know, you're probably going to feel like more self-doubt, and that it's not going to work. But Gary Vee, I like that. I seen one of his posts the other day says, if another 24-year-old comes and tells us that he's going to be a millionaire at 30, he's going to punch them in the fucking throat. That's what he said. Because it's like, it's just such a time where we just want everything yesterday. We just want everything that we haven't got. We're not really actually taking a minute to dive into what truly makes us happy. So a lot of times it's not really money that a lot of we need to make we're happy, but yeah, we're conditioned to think that it's material things or money or women and things like that. And these are the people, when you actually give them things, that don't end up happy because it's not intrinsic, it's not coming from an internal place. So we really need to
externally,
we need to really do some soul searching and figure out what actually does make us happy. And 9 times out of 10, it isn't millions of pounds. It isn't the fast car. It's just what helps us actually have the lifestyle that we want. So for me, I just want to be able to make enough money so that I don't have to worry about bills and I can travel. It's not a yacht. It's not a fucking massive penthouse suite and stuff like that. It's just things that are going to give us better experiences, travel, see the world, fill your soul up with amazing experiences. Yeah, that's it.
Because you know what you really want. You've figured it out. And a lot of people don't yet know what they really are trying to achieve. So they're going for everything that everyone else says. It's funny, like the young culture. I really think I need to spend more time with young people. Not that I'm a fucking teacher, a guru or anything like that, but I feel like I feel like I really need to connect more with younger, developing people, because that's where it is, isn't it? I mean, that's where the future is.
Yeah,
it's in kids. Not to kind of like paraphrase Whitney Houston or anything, but like I saw a TikTok video of a kid in an ER room with, I would assume, his grandparents, and his granddad was in the bed and his grandma was kind of talking to him, and then he's on TikTok like miming a Justin Bieber song, pointing at them, and it's kind of so disrespectful and so weird and wrong to be doing that. And you're like, what is happening? Because I'm sure that never happened. This kind of thing, it probably did happen, but it just wasn't documented, which is it's worrying. But I'm just saying, it's like now everyone gets to see it. And these kids, they have followers, and those other kids are going to be like, oh, that's cool. That's funny, right? Because it's kind of rebellious and it's like, or whatever. I'm just commenting on the fact that we probably should be spending more time attending to these younger people, and kind of guiding them. And to tie it into Gary Vee, I don't know why it's so hard these days to actually point out what someone's not good at, but it really is difficult. And you can be canceled these days for doing that.
People are sensitive. People are just sensitive, flat out. That's just what it is nowadays. Yeah. People have just gotten softer and softer, and it's just a generational thing. And you can't critique someone like you could 50 years ago. They're just too sensitive. They take it way too personally. It doesn't matter who you are, what you believe in. Just everything's taken way too personally. So you have to approach it with like a completely different attitude with people. It's difficult.
Yeah. I mean, the comedy circuit, which I do follow because I'm very into stand-up, the comedy circuit in the United States has changed dramatically over the last 12 months.
Of course it has.
Yeah, because no one wants to talk about these things anymore because they're frightened. And there's been a lot of comedians who've been canceled for whatever reason. A lot of it has been controversy about, texts and emails and communications with young women or whatever. But in general, there's a sense of just fear about talking about what comedians usually talk about, which are sensitive, controversial subjects that need to be talked about. But that was the way that we used to talk about it. Now we don't even talk about it that way. You know, we're not touching the most important things in society through comedy anymore.
Yeah, and it's that's the whole fucking point of stand-up comedy. It's being brutal. You know, you don't sit at the front, like don't be so fucking sensitive, like don't go there completely. Like, it's a shame because it's holding people back from the actual truth. And, you know, like, I love the stand-up comedians who've got real knowledge, and they bring it across in such a clever way. You know, like, you've got like Ricky Gervais, who I highly rate in the UK, Bill Burr in America.
Yeah, love him.
Awesome. Yeah,
some amazing comedians out there. Well, I think the ones who have huge audiences and huge fan bases are generally, and who've already been doing it for a long time, talking about these things, are going to be okay. I think it's the ones who are kind of like, they're on the precipice maybe of becoming big, or they're just starting out. I think we're starting to see these people are like having a bit of trouble going in that direction. So, but yeah, I don't know how we ended up on stand-up comedy, but